win here today. Hughes and Johnson, row 1. Denmark and Becklin, row 2. DeTulio and Skeets, row 3. Sykes and Dzelski on row 4. Escoto alongside Clark, row 5. Mossman and Montiero, row 6. Garciarci and Durst will be on row 7. Adams and Rashid, row 8. And Van Berlo by himself on row number 9. Time to as one of our guests from Continental Tire to give the command to fire engines, Tyler Svirk.
Drivers, start your engines.
I like it. A bit of gusto here on a Sunday morning. You can see the cloud cover in the back, but we do have blue sky starting to poke through, and there is Lockie Hughes ready to fire things up. If you're a big company in Australia, see that big white side pod? There should be a name on that. That kid needs a sponsor because he is one of the best drivers in this entire USF Pro Championship. Multiple wins on the season for Lockie Hughes. He was in a championship fight last year at USF 2000. He is a talent for sure. Now living in Carmel, Indiana, looking to try to continue his focus on becoming one of the next NTT IndyCar Series drivers to come out of the USF Pro Championships. 4 here this weekend of the last 6 champions are in IndyCar here in USF Pro 2000. And indeed, Kyle Kirkwood, Renus VK, Stingray Robb, Christian Rasmussen. We got Louis Foster and Miles Rowe, the last 2 champions running in Indy Next. Foster, your leader in the Indy Next series, looking to try to get to IndyCar in 2025. That's what this series does. We, number 1, develop drivers to transition and graduate into Indy Next, and from there, they're on into the IndyCar Series. Joining me in the booth here for this USF Pro 2000 race number 2 in Toronto, we've got DC Autosport driver Ayrton Hauk. Ayrton not able to race here this weekend. I know it hurts, but a good opportunity for you to see the race in different perspectives, so when you're back here in 2025.
Absolutely. It's been great sitting in with all the guys on the debriefs and learning the track, because we're definitely going to be coming full force next year and being able to get a grip of kind of how this whole weekend goes down.
Todd Lewis, the voice of this Honda Indy Toronto event. Listen, we're just getting things underway. I know you bright and early, you got on the PA at 7:30 this morning. We went racing at 8 o'clock, 1 down. Bunch of racing still to come.
4 more to come, including this USF Pro 2000 series. Interested to see what Lockie Hughes can do from the pole position start today. Spoke with him a couple of days ago prior to things getting going this weekend. He was looking for a good weekend, solidify his position. The focus is on getting that championship, getting that scholarship, and continuing to climb the ladder. But had a little trouble, like many of us have had, getting in here with the traffic the other day. But all good now. He has got clear sailing ahead of him to start this race.
USF 2000 put on a fantastic race for us, a great display of driving up front. Evagoras Papasavas has that coming away with the victory, but for these drivers here, actually cleaning up the racetrack a little bit. We put some more rubber down, cleaned it up. Drivers are lining things up. First couple of rows into position. Up comes DeTulio and Skeets to get into their spots. Simon Sykes and Dzelski on row number 4. They'll come through turn number 10. Get the initial field lined up. The drivers further back trying to get up on their horses here to get up as close as they can for the start, coming down into turn number 1. We know it's going to be a wild start. They're lining up nicely. Almost time to go racing. There's Van Berlo. The tail of the field is in position. Time to go racing. We are at it. Green, green, green. And Van Berlo from the back going to go to the outside. They'll fan 3, 4, 5 wide coming down into turn number 1. That does not look good. Contact at turn 1. One driver into the wall. Make it 2. Simon Sykes involved, I think, as well, potentially. Drivers, more contact further back. Yeah, Sykes has lost the wing. He'll have to bring it into pit lane to get the wing done quickly, but we're underway. They will let them race, despite we have the incident over in turn number 1. They're going to let these guys race likely up over to turn number 8 before we go full course yellow. Big lock up for Van Berlo. He doesn't get in the wall, but he overcooks it coming at the end of the straightaway. Everybody's settling in right now. Wait for the full course yellow as a couple drivers off. One of them is, I believe, Danny Dzelski potentially. Into turn number 1, you saw the contact. They went 3 wide into the corner, being told it's potentially the 3 of Danny Dzelski, and no, the 17 of Nikita Johnson involved as well. So full course yellow, as I said, would come out. It does. There is Johnson right there. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Johnson has not turned a lap yet in a race. Wow, we'll bring them back around. We're actually, so they're going to roll their way around. They're going to roll around here. You saw the quick little red there. That was just an error. We're going yellow, so they will circulate under yellow right now. The AMR IndyCar safety team on the scene very quickly. We will have a look at the replay when we get an opportunity. Lost rear wing there for, I believe, a Scoto. So one of the BN cars lost rear wing. That looks like damage potentially to the left rear. Let's have a look at this. You're going to see mid-pack. Ayrton, you have a big look. You're going to see contact as they come in. They try to go 3 wide. Coming down the inside, there's Liam Skeets thinking about it. Let's see who eventually gets the 3 wide action. Coming down to the inside, Skeets, Becklin. We're good through there still. Here it comes. There's Johnson to the inside. So Johnson's right between Escoto, I believe. Or is that... Oh, and then there's Sykes in there as well. That might have been DeTulio. That was a tough start. We'll, of course, watch this again. Let's continue to watch. Here's the end of it. Hughes through cleanly. There's the contact further back. And once you're intertangled, you're along for the ride. And a number of drivers getting caught up. Sykes with nowhere to go. He loses the front wing. Becklin and Skeets, both TJ speed cars, able to get through cleanly. There's Matt Clark through cleanly as well. There is left front or right front damage. Sykes hard impact into the back of that BN car. That's the 78. That's Alessandro DeTulio. He was involved in that. DeTulio was the driver on the inside of that, Ayrton.
Yeah, it looked like there were just 3 cars kind of going for one spot right in front of Simon Sykes there. It looked like the 2 BN guys kind of came into each other and slowed up, and Simon had nowhere to go and just went right over the top of them. And I think we called Nikita Johnson earlier, but it looks like he got away. He
might have got clean through, yeah.
In third. I think we it was the 2 BN cars that got up onto each other, unfortunately.
The insight that we got coming in from our spotter said it was Nikita Johnson. It actually wasn't Nikita that got through. He was actually we potentially believe, into third. So we'll pick this thing back up again. If we can have another look at the replay, we'll let Ayrton Howe from DC Autosport have another good look at it. We had that first run through. It's always nice to see the second when you're kind of realizing what happens. You talked about the fact that 2 drivers got together. Ayrton, let's let you have a look at this and tell me what you think.
Yeah, watching that BN car right in front of Simon Sykes, you can see his tires are locked up, his teammate on the outside, and then the turn 3, that might be Dzelski coming down 3 cars under 1 car spot, and Simon Sykes unfortunately getting over the back. He really had nowhere to go, so really unfortunate for him.
Well, here's the remainder of it here. You see the car of Dzelski coming down after the contact. He gets into the tires pretty aggressively. The BN cars are in trouble. It is actually a Scoto, I believe, in the wall, and then here comes the 78 through. Here's, again, Sykes coming. He was literally piggybacking him all the way through the corner, comes back down. It seems to me coming into the corner, we'll get one more shot of this when we get a chance. I think that coming into the corner as they start to transition, it looked to me like the 77 of Scoto started to rotate a little bit. I think he probably had some wheel in it, and the car started to rotate again. If we can have one more look at it, you pick up the 77 of Scoto, Ayrton, because it feels to me like he kind of lost it. You talk about him coming in from the outside. He kind of comes in to watch that car start to rotate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as he sees that hole kind of starting to close, he's adding some brake into it. That weight's really transferring to the nose. He's getting sideways. And Dzelski gets kind of a hip check as we come into this second view. And that's really what sends Dzelski, unfortunately, into the wall pretty aggressively here. And yeah, there he goes. The hip check, you can see him bouncing over into the wall with his front wing following quick behind, and Simon Sykes on the back of DeTulio really just following him all the way through the corner, unfortunately, and that's just an unfortunate circumstance for these guys.
Ayrton, great insight there. As you're coming into the corner, you're essentially at that point of the track, you're on the brakes. You're rolling right on the threshold at that point. You're expecting that Scoto with Dzelski coming across the bow from left to right, that he's probably putting more wheel in it. He's already fully locked up on the brakes.
Yeah, I think he saw that hole closing up, and all those cars ahead of him, he really had nowhere to go. He's starting to add some wheel to get away from Dzelski as he's adding brake to kind of get out of that closing hole, and more brake and more steering input is never really a good combination.
Fantastic insight from Ayrton Howe, one of our USF 2000 drivers, not able to run here this weekend with budget issues, but we hope to see him back in Portland for DC Autosport. Let's give you a run through of how things have shaken down. The resultant damage here: Lockie Hughes with the lead, Chase Denmark goes to second, Nikita Johnson, we erroneously called as being part of that, being shown here in third spot, fourth for Liam Skeets, fifth for Cooper Becklin, sixth spot for Matt Clark, seventh George Garcia Arce, eighth is Logan Adams, ninth Nicholas Montiero, and Sean Rashid from 16th up in to 10th. Frankie Mossman able to get through in 11th. Tyke Durst in 12th. Glenn Van Berlo, who overcooked it down into turn number 3, locked the brakes up. He is 13th. Simon Sykes is still on the lead lap. Let's see if they're able to get that car and the wing fix, get him back on the racetrack here. DeTulio, Deshelski, and Escoto out from the contact in turn number 1, and we're being told Frankie Mossman potentially a penalty as well. So Frankie Mossman's going to be told to move behind the 33 of Tyke Durst. Race control getting him for blocking, and that was, Ayrton, I know you sat in on it at the drivers' meeting. They were very adamant with the rules on blocking. We've had some blocking issues here throughout the season. You're not allowed to move in reaction to another driver. And I think I did see it further back on that lap as they came out of the corner. Durst was already down to the inside of the track, and Frankie came across on him. You can't move in reaction to another driver.
It's so tempting as you're coming down into the corner. You know, you're looking in your mirrors, you're trying to find where these other drivers are, and you see him poke out, and if he's got to run, and you just got to sit there and accept it and hope you get him on the braking. But it's definitely very tempting. It's something you really got to work on, and unfortunately Frankie got picked up for that. But he's got some pace, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him get that position back and start pushing back through the field.
Now, I want to see if I can't pick up there. I believe there's Simon Sykes. Yeah, so they've got a new wing on the front for Simon Sykes. Watch for, listen, if you're around the racetrack right now, keep an eye on the number 18. Tail the field, Simon Sykes. He is going to be up on the wheel. No longer in the championship contention, currently sitting in the 6th spot with a very likelihood of being able to go up into the top 5 in points when we head to Portland for the last couple of races. 66 points for the drivers in Portland. That's why this race here is so crucial. And I'll tell you, I know if you're a Nikita Johnson fan back home, we do apologize. I was given notes that Nikita was the driver involved from our spotters. That was, of course, not the case. We picked that up. Ayrton was able to see him on live timing. And I had said, because he had such a rough run yesterday, got into turn number 1, locked it up, got into the back of Liam Skeets. Everybody had to check up, and it was Johnson and Skeet, the two drivers that really weren't even part of it, who ended up getting the worst of the altercation. Both those drivers not able to finish the opening lap. So I'm glad to see both of those drivers able to get through turn 1 this time. Johnson 3rd, Skeets in the 4th spot, and Cooper Becklin cleaning green through as well. So we're going to go green, I believe, this next time by. It'll be 5 laps in, 20 laps still to go. An inauspicious beginning for the drivers here in USF Pro 2000, but I'll tell you, the front 3 drivers in the championship run that way on the racetrack right now. Hughes, Denmark, and Johnson, 1, 2, 3 on the track, currently 1, 2, 3 in the championship. Denmark 24 points back, Johnson 39 points back. They're going to go to work trying to get around Lockie Hughes. Otherwise, the gap will stretch a little bit heading in to Portland. Again, just 66 points up for grabs there. And Lockie Hughes trying to see if he can come after that scholarship. But we talk about the fact that over $250,000, over $260,000 for the USF 2000 champion, the juniors champion to move to USF 2000. Over $450,000 for the USF 2000 champion to move up. Over $680,000 for the drivers in USF Pro 2000 to move up to Indy next the following year. The scholarships are what sets this program apart from any other ladder series program throughout the world. Out of turn number 10, out of 11, we are back to green flag racing. And it is going to be a challenge at turn number 1. Big long run down. We'll see if Lockie Hughes defends to the inside. If you do, you give yourself up a little bit. He does not. Big wide run. Big move for Matt Clark as well. He gets to the inside of Cooper Becklin into turn number 1. Slide further back for Frankie Mossman as he's up on the wheel trying to once again get around Tyke Durst. Glenn Van Berlo there as well. P5 yesterday in qualifying. Just couldn't put the qualifying together. Here comes the run. There's going to be some big action further back. Oh, little brake lock up on the right front for Lockie Hughes. Further back, coming to the inside. Mossman trying to get around Sean Rashid. Here's Durst back to the inside. Oh, he's going to hold that spot. Look at this fight. This is the tail of the field. And this is Simon Sykes, Todd, trying to find a way by, but they're too wide in front of him.
That's what I was expecting to see, is that Simon Sykes was begin his charge almost immediately. He was super fast yesterday in scoring the victory, and once he got out front, no one was going to catch him. But with drivers going too wide through corners, he has no way to move forward in this race.
One of the things to remember when you're at the tail of the field and used to running at the front, the guys in the back, I'm not saying that they're lower quality drivers, but they're having trouble with their cars. If they're not on pace, they're probably struggling a little bit. Their elbows up. They may not be counted on to make the corners you expected because the people at the back struggling more than the guys at the front. I think right now Simon Sykes being pretty wise because he knows he's going to be able to start getting these cars one at a time in turn number 3.
Take your time, make your moves judiciously as opposed to trying to get it all back at once. And now that they've settled in and strung out just a little bit in a single file, I think we'll see Simon Sykes start to move forward.
Well, you also don't know the extent of the damage. Yeah, they were able to change the wing, but remember, he came down pretty hard. Is there any potential suspension damage on that car? That's what he's feeling right now, getting around, getting a feel for it. Eric, you can talk about that. If you've had an issue on the racetrack with an incident, they bring you in, put the new wing, driver into the wall, Durst, tight Durst touching the right rear on the wall coming out of turn number 6. Everybody able to get back by. Just want to bring that one up. Tight Durst into the wall coming out of turn number 4, rather. Tapped it on exit, damaged that right rear. He'll be coming back to pit lane. But if you've had an issue on the racetrack, a significant issue like Simon Sykes did where you're up in the air and came back down, they fixed the wing, but you got to get out there and push that car to see what potentially else could be wrong with it.
The Pabst boys did an amazing job getting his front wing back on and keeping him on the lead lap while still being able to fight for this race. But like you said, he did have a really big fall right back off of the back end of Alessandro Di Tullio, so we're not sure if maybe he bent a toe link on the front or maybe a push rod and he's just trying to limp that car back for the points. But we'll see maybe in the next couple of laps if he can start to click off some of these guys near the back end of the field and the car is feeling all right. We'll see him kind of start moving forward.
We did see Tyke Durst come into pit lane, so that'll be it for Tyke. He is your 4th retirement, joining Alessandro Di Tullio, Danny Jaschelski, and Ricardo Escoto. BN Racing not having a good run there through turn number 1. Both those drivers who finished 3rd and 4th yesterday end up 15th and 17th today. So Sykes currently running in that 13th spot. He has not shown anything at all right now for Frankie Mossman. Again, just feeling out the car. We'll see whether or not he's able to mount any kind of a challenge from the tail of the field. But up front, Lockie Hughes now with a 7/10 of a second advantage over Jace Denmark. Nikita Johnson still 3rd. Liam Skeets 4th. Matt Clark in the 5th spot. There he is. Becklin 6th. Then it's Garciarci having a good run in 7th. How about 8th position right now for the driver just coming through? We'll see him in a couple of seconds. Oh, look at this. Nikita Johnson. Let's come to that. We'll come back to Logan Adams in a second. There he is with Monteiro behind him. But yeah, Denmark now having to go full defense on Nikita Johnson. Nikita, again, doesn't want to fall back that many points. He knows he wants to get up to Lockie Hughes, but even if he's able to beat Jace Denmark, that's still part of the scrap for the championship. He's got to beat both of these guys still. So there's no way he's going to want to finish 3rd and lose more ground even to Jace and Lockie. So watch for a potential challenge coming down in to turn number 3. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying the over-under. Behind them, everything's stacking up. So far, so good for Lockie Hughes up front because, Todd, that's exactly what you want. Hey, there's a move to the inside there. Let's get back at it. Side by side coming out of the corner. I think Nikita Johnson may have got it done. That's not the gap we're looking at. That's a little bit further back. But as they come through, let's pick them up. Maybe not. I think maybe able to hold them back. There's Lockie Hughes. There's the lead he has right now. And indeed, yeah, he is through. So yeah, he's gone to 2nd. Nikita Johnson goes to 2nd. Jace Denmark now, Todd, his hands full with Liam Skeets, Matt Clark, and Cooper Becklin.
Pounced on him when he got the opportunity. If there's an opening, if it's not a traditional passing area, you want to take advantage of it. So Jace Denmark and Nikita Johnson with the battle going through the back part of the course where it's a little bit tighter, a little more difficult to pass on your way through. But Nikita Johnson is now running 2nd, Jace Denmark 3rd, Liam Skeets is 3rd, Matt Clark is starting to feel the heat from Cooper Becklin from behind once again.
Being told to number 32 of Sean Rashid off the racetrack in a safe area. We'll pick that up here. An issue with Sean Rashid. We'll watch him coming out. Out of turn number 11. Oh, way wide coming out there, Ayrton. A big flat slide. That's full damage, yeah. And around he goes, almost all the way around he goes. I'm assuming he probably pulled off down at turn number 1. But listen, how many times we watch that, Ayrton? We're watching these guys run on the ragged edge coming in to turn number 11. Very apparent that he never got the thing down to the turning point.
Very unfortunate for Sean Rashid there. You can see him as he's outside of that rubber really sideways. You can see that car bouncing. These big discrepancies in heights of these pavements is only going to make it worse if you get out of the rubber. The tires start bouncing off, and you can see the banners on the outside of that wall are all torn up. There's been multiple drivers who've just gone a little too wide there, and unfortunately for Sean, it ended his race a little early.
Listen, the interesting thing is right now, you're obviously not racing here this weekend, so you're in the booth doing a fantastic job. You were racing an F-1600 car at Road America a couple of weeks ago, and your dad was in the booth. You guys, your dad, Kevin, you guys do pretty good in the booth. Todd and I might need to get dangerous. They could be the Houks in here. You and I could be out, Todd.
Well, you know, that's always the way it works, isn't it? The former drivers and current drivers, they like to moonlight, get an extra opportunity.
How cool was it to go back and watch that broadcast of your dad being part of the commentary box for your race that you ended up going for the victory?
That was really fun, yeah, being able to be out on the track, and I think my dad had a ton of fun up in the booth being able to call me. It was a bit odd watching the replay back and hearing my dad calling the race, but it was really cool to be able to have that experience.
He did get a little emotional at the end too when you won. You heard that?
Yeah, he said he needed to calm down for a couple of laps or a couple of corners for the end. But he did a great job. It was really fun to have him up there.
Again, Ayrton Hauk from Indianapolis, Indiana, joining us in the booth today. One of the drivers from DC Autosports. Some budget issues did not allow him to race here this weekend in Toronto, but doing everything he can to potentially get back behind the wheel at Portland, of course, for a full season in 2025. Part of the alumni of the iconic Team USA scholarship program. You look at guys like Joseph Newgarden, Brian Herta, Jimmy Vasser, who have all been part of that program in years past. Connor Daly as well, Kyle Kirkwood. Ayrton, of course, one of the top drivers we've seen come up through the ranks in the last couple of years. Multi-time winner in the F-1600 Championship Series. This guy can wheel a car, and again, just looking for that opportunity for a full season. Great to have him in the booth with us here for both USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. Coming closer to the halfway point in this one, Lockie Hughes about a second up, but I'll tell you, Nikita Johnson is digging a half a second faster, Todd, last time by.
He just posted his fastest lap and the fastest lap of the race to cut that lead to under 1 second. Nikita Johnson is definitely closing on Lockie Hughes. Going to be interesting to watch and see whether or not Jace Denmark can keep up. The battles further back as well. Skeets and Matt Clark, Cooper Becklin putting a little pressure on him as well. Good fights throughout this field.
That's it right here coming into 8. There is Skeets, there is Clark, there is Becklin right there. I'll say for Jace Denmark, they were right on his gearbox after he lost the spot to Nikita Johnson, but he's been able to pull away a little bit, giving himself about a second cushion for Denmark, who runs third. Again, he doesn't want to finish behind Lockie Hughes, but again, if you are going to finish behind, maximize what you can get and don't lose too many markers. As we said, 44 points back for Jace Denmark, 39 for Nikita Johnson. Aaron, you pick something up there?
Nikita has really closed the gap now onto Lockie Hughes. He even best his last lap time, and I think he's really putting his head down, and it showed when he passed Jace Denmark how big the gap grew from Jace right immediately. And yeah, he's coming up close to the gearbox, down into 3 there on Lockie Hughes.
And I'll tell you this, I don't think Jace Denmark's ever going to root for Lockie Hughes or Nikita Johnson, but right now he's hoping that Johnson gets by Hughes and minimizes the amount of points that Lockie can get. As we're to the halfway point right now, as we get here, Lockie's going to get that bonus point. He's already got the bonus point for pole. He's going to have the bonus point for the most laps led. Once he gets to the halfway point, no one else can lead any more laps. So he, Denmark's like, come on, Nikita, let's go. We need you up there. We need you to get this victory because you need to cut it down, because right now Denmark is ahead of Nikita by 15 points. So for him to finish up front would be tightening things up from first back to third. So, and look at this, Nikita Johnson at number 17. Remember, swept the weekend in Mid-Ohio, didn't get a lap in yesterday. He is trying to get his 3rd win in the last 4 races. And Nikita Johnson, the 16-year-old for Gulfport, Florida. Everybody's keeping an eye on this young driver to see what he's going to do in 2025. Again, just 16 years of age, as I said, just finally started running GB3 as well, got to their age requirement. So he coming off a victory there as well in GB3 competition. So he's been winning a lot of races over the last little while. And he is starting to put the pressure here on Lockie Hughes. Looking back to that battle for 3rd. Jace Denmark well back. This is a 2-horse run. There's Denmark. There's Liam Skeets. He's not done. Liam's coming up on him as well. He gained a couple of tenths of a second on the last lap. There's Matt Clark again. Cooper Becklin having a good run. He was the fastest driver on the racetrack yesterday. Matt Clark, who started back in 10th up to 5th. Todd, we talked about how busy he's been this week. Of course, the home race for the Canadian Matt Clark lives just down the 401 in Milton. This is a big weekend for him. This is where he wants to do well. Cooper Becklin tossed it into 8 and tried to get by him and flat slided it. But he is really, the qualifying didn't go well for Mac. We had him here in the race yesterday, USF 2000. He was kind of reiterating that to us. But he was able to get a good finish yesterday. Now 10th to 5th. This is one of those deals, Todd. We always talk about drivers taking their car and kind of doing better with it. Like if you have a 6th place car, it's a 6th place car. If it's 10th, it's a 10th. but the best drivers can get more. They can extract more, and that's what Matt Clark's doing right now.
Really benefited from that corner one collision that took out a couple of competitors. He was able to avoid the carnage, get around and move up a few spots, and has gained another spot. Cooper Becklin was ahead of him on that restart. He immediately took him and got into the top 5, and now it has been a fight ever since. Looking back at the fight up front, Nikita Johnson carved about a half a second out of Lockie Hughes' lead on the last lap, and he's continuing to pull closer. Good battles between those two, along with Jace Denmark, Liam Skeets, and then Matt Clark and Cooper Becklin also battling it out.
Really impressed with Cooper Becklin for TJ Speed Motorsports here this weekend. When you come here, his first year, as he didn't even run the full year, but his first year in this USF Pro 2000 category on a track like Toronto, every time he's been on the racetrack, he's been getting better and better. Obviously, his two qualifying sessions, he qualified outside the top 10, then qualifies P5, turns the fastest lap in the race. He's just been getting better and better the more comfortable he's been with this racetrack. So overall, I think we're watching kind of the maturation to the second half of the season for Cooper Becklin. Guess what happens? He now gets to go from being, this is a Matt Clark race here. Cooper Becklin's from Portland. He's going to have the full family, all the supporters going to be there for the finale, so he'll get to go to his home racetrack at Portland International Raceway at the end of August. So excited that he's going to go in there with a lot of momentum, because that's what we want from all these drivers. This is about development, Todd. It's about learning all the ins and outs, whether it's in the car, social media, sponsorship, interviews, you name it. And again, the maturation of these drivers throughout the entire season.
All part of the learning and growing process. You talked about Mac having guests here all weekend long. There's about 50 people who have been here each day of this weekend of the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto. He had an event with sponsors and partners and looking for additional partners that took place before the weekend started. It has been non-stop, go, go, go all weekend long.
Biggest fight right now, I think, is for that 5th position, as Cooper Becklin is glued to the gearbox right now of Matt Clark, just trying to find a way by. Big tank slapper for Logan Adams coming out of turn number 18. Lost the rear end coming over that manhole cover. Denmark's got a little bit more of a gap. These are the drivers fighting for 5th. Becklin's not done at all. And Nikita Johnson, to me, seems like he's kind of settling in a little bit here. Being told a driver, Tyke Durst, potentially off to the runoff of turn number 1. So Durst, they were able to repair the rear of the car, and he's gone off at potentially turn 3 I'm being updated on. But the battle here is coming right now. Nikita Johnson thinking about side by side. Oh, but he had to pull out because we have the yellow there. He was making a move, I think, to go for the lead, but the yellow for the driver off. Tyke Durst over in turn number 3. So this fight starting to get heated here now. 16 laps down, 9 to go, and a 25-lapper to cap off the USF Pro Championships component of this year's Toronto Indy weekend. And I'll tell you, we got a couple of good battles. We're not done yet for the race lead. I'm telling you that right now. I don't know that we're done for 3rd either. Chase Denmark's holding the spot. We'll have a good look when they come out of here. Denmark's going to have a little bit of advantage still over Liam Skeets, but we know we got a scrap between Matt Clark and Cooper Becklin as well. There are some good battles going on this track. We're not done. And again, Aaron, let's talk about throughout a race. You race St. Petersburg. Once the car starts going away a little bit, these tires, we know the Continentals are super consistent, but the drivers start getting tired. The tires start going away just a little bit. The level of danger in the racetrack never kind of goes down. So do you feel like near the end you can make that mistake? You got to stay focused?
Absolutely. I like how you stated the level of danger never goes down.
Exactly.
But the strength is definitely going down, and these Continental tires are holding up really well throughout the race. And I think these drivers are going to really start to get aggressive here at the end of the race.
Full defense mode now for Lockie Hughes. You watched him go to the inside of turn number 5 to kind of hold him back a little bit. Johnson, though, knows how to get by. These two drivers, very impressive, multi-time winners in the series coming up through USF 2000. Of course, Nikita Johnson starting all the way back in USF Juniors as well. He made his debut last year at the Circuit of the Americas in an off weekend from USF 2000. Promptly went out and won down in Austin, so we know how talented of a driver he is. Can he get his 3rd win in 4 weekends? We'll see. Oh, maybe a little tap of the wall coming out there. Talk about using all the racetrack. A light kiss on the wall, the outside of turn number 11 for Nikita Johnson. Everybody hustled. There's Adams. There's Montiero. That's 8th and 9th. Glenn Van Berlo, who started dead last, into the trouble. He's fought his way back up into the top 10. So a good run for Glenn Van Berlo. A one-off entry this weekend here, we believe, for Glenn. He's a full-time sports car driver. Had an opportunity to sub in for Christian Brooks, who will no longer run USF Pro 2000, focusing solely on his Indy Next program with 3 top 10s in the last trio of races. Christian, very impressive, both on the road courses and on the oval in Iowa. Had a tremendous drive there, and we'll see Christian Brooks full-time in Indy next in 2025. Again, just yet another USF Pro 2000 graduate moving up to fill the field in Indy next, which is as strong as it's been in many, many years. These two drivers 100% will be in Indy next sooner or later. These guys are tremendously talented, Hughes and Johnson. Again, just a half a second separating them, but you visually look at it. What do you think about that little tank slapper for Skeets? Did you see that? Liam Skeets came out at turn number 10, and it was a lot of wheel coming out of there. This seems like, I think the toughest part of this racetrack is turn 10.
Yeah, these drivers are really skating through that 9, 10, 11 complex, and I think it just goes to show what we were talking about earlier. The track is staying how it is, but these drivers are definitely getting a little tired. The tires might be coming off a little bit. And as we get closer to the end of this race, I think all of those little mistakes you might be making are just going to get amplified.
And Aaron, I know you spend a lot of time in the gym like a lot of these guys do. That's one of the key things. It's one of the things you are in control of when it comes to motorsports, your level of fitness. And if you start getting tired, I don't care how good the car is. They build the car so it's going to be super good for you at the end. If you're too tired, if you're starting to... Oh, it's a spin. Oh, Johnson in the wall. Nikita Johnson taps the wall coming out of turn number 6. And I just talked about the fact that you can make a mistake, and it happens for Johnson. Full course yellow. Nikita taps the left rear on the wall coming out of turn number 7. And we picked that up on the screen. Ayrton Hauk had his hands in his head. Unbelievable for Nikita Johnson, who was relentless with his pressure on the leader, Lockie Hughes. That is a championship driver potentially looking for a title, who's going to get another finish, very likely 13th or 14th.
So disappointing for Nikita.
The championship just took a major shift, guys. Todd, that was crazy.
Just watching the battle between the 17 car of Nikita Johnson and the 44 of Lockie Hughes for the last handful of laps, you could really see how hard he was pushing. Let's have a look at it again.
Aaron, make sure you watch quickly. Look at him. Oh, he's flat sliding coming out. It wasn't just a touch, Ayrton. You saw that. We'll come back and look at it again so you can kind of really give us the insight. But looks like as he was coming through 5 through 6, it was already starting to get wide, get loose. It was rotating already. Entry oversteer in turn number 6.
Nikita was really pushing there behind Lockie, and I think he was just, here, let's take another look at it. Yep, real loose coming out of 7, 6 there. Just really pushing behind Lockie, and I think, you know, it's a decreasing radius corner. He might have gotten in just a little bit too early, and the track just tightened up on him on the exit. Just very disappointing there for Nikita in the championship contention, and now 2 DNFs on the weekend is not going to be great for points. Very upsetting with the pace he had catching Lockie and potentially battling for a win there at the end.
Yeah, I'm looking at the points right now, thinking where he's finishing. I don't have the mental ability to do that math that quickly, but there's a possibility that he could have just put himself out of championship contention there as well. Because remember, 39 points coming back in. All Lockie Hughes needs to anybody is 67 points, because there's only 66 points up for grabs when we get to Portland. This could be down to a 2-driver battle. And I'll say, regardless of the points he's going to get here, he has put himself deep in a hole to try to win a championship. This thing's going to come down, I think, to Lockie Hughes and Jace Denmark. And here's the thing. As they come through here, the AMR IndyCar safety team on the scene already. They've got Nikita out of the car. They're going to get the tow truck here and hook this thing back up. There is still 5 laps remaining in this race. We're going to get at least a couple of laps, I would bet. It's not going to take long to get this cleaned up. Jace Denmark's going to be back on the gearbox of Lockie Hughes. Now, granted, Liam Skeets has been super aggressive. Matt Clark now up into 4th. Becklin 5th. Garcia Arce 6th. Adams 7th. Monteiro 8th. Glenn Van Berlo 9th. And Simon Sykes, by way of a lot of attrition, now finds himself up into the 10th position. I have to feel there's some kind of a damage for Sykes. He's not been able to really attack from where he's been. But for Jace Denmark, this is an opportunity. Once again, he's 24 points coming in here. He's going to lose probably 7 already. And Lockie with the fast lap of the race, he's lined up to have all 33 points. Chase would get 25, so there's an 8-point difference. That would put him 32 points back, almost a full race back. Lockie Hughes looking very good now, but Jace Denmark's almost got to think that he needs to get by to close up. He does not want to finish that far back. Ayrton, in your mindset as a driver on a session like this where you're cruising around, how much do you think strategy of the last couple of laps?
If I'm Jace Denmark, I'm fully focused on how I can get around Lockie Hughes now. Always in the back of your mind, you're thinking championship. Obviously, when you get caught up in the race, you're thinking about what's going on at that exact moment. But Jace Denmark is definitely trying to plan something for this restart if we get going green again here. He's been given an amazing opportunity with this yellow flag, bringing him back up to the leader here. He might be able to make a lunge for first down into turn 1.
Todd, here's one interesting thing, though. Yeah, let's say you go for it and you want to finish in front. You know, the pass has to be clean. It has to be low risk. You have to be decisive in the pass, because the last thing he wants to do is make a mistake where he DNFs as well. You do that and you find yourself in trouble, because although I know it's 66 points up for grabs at Portland, the festival curves, turn 1, 2, and 3 at Portland, anything can happen. You need to keep yourself in contention.
First things first is you have to get all the points you can get today. Yes, you absolutely want to jump in front of Lockie Hughes, score the victory, and cut into that gap. But what you must do is get at least second place points.
Yeah, it's been an amazing run. 3 straight second place finishes for Jace Denmark. Will it happen again? But Lockie Hughes looking to try to stretch that lead a little bit. One of his primary contenders out of the race already. He will finish in the 12th position. That's Nikita Johnson. We've got ourselves a good battle here, folks. It'll be a 3-lap dash out of turn number 11. Onto the loud pedal comes Lockie Hughes. He handled that last restart. Does he do it again? He does. He's got at least a couple of car lengths on Jace Denmark. Here comes a big move to the inside. Skeet's actually blocking a little bit here from Matt Clark, who's trying to get himself on the podium here in his home race. Clark's going to fight for third. Denmark does not get a great run out of there. You're going to see a challenge here, I think, potentially from Liam Skeets. Skeets is right on the gearbox, but as is Clark as well. If Skeets goes wide, you're going to see Clark try to get the draft, come up to the inside. Yeah, look at this. Skeets is going to the outside. Clark's thinking about the inside to try to go to P3. Side by side coming out of the corner, and indeed, Denmark holds the spot. But look at this. Matt Clark goes to P3. Oh, he's wide coming in the corner. Oh, and he does almost throw it away. Clark couldn't get the car to come down to the apex, and he's going to lose a spot. He's got Becklin behind him still attacking. Skeets lucky to be able to hold on to that spot. Clark had taken the position, but the car would just not come down to the apex of turn number 5. Almost tossed it in the wall, and Jace Denmark has trouble at 8 as well. Denmark's going to go back to P3. So pushing very hard. Denmark has a trouble in turn number 8. Move Liam Skeets up into second. Not good for Jace Denmark. He still needs to be on the podium. Clark runs in 4th. Becklin 5th. 6th is Garciarci. 7th is Adams. 2 to go this time by. And Lockie Hughes has said goodbye. Great restart for Lockie, and all the chaos behind him has allowed him to pull away to a nice advantage. Lockie Hughes looking to grab yet another victory, extend his championship margin, but Liam Skeets runs in second. Jace Denmark trying to fight back. Looked like it could have been a podium finish for Matt Clark, but as he got over to turn 5, just couldn't keep the car down to the bottom of the racetrack, and it got a little ugly for him coming through turn number 5. Ayrton, he did everything he possibly could to try to get the thing to the apex.
Yeah, he really did, and it was good to see him get down to the, a little bit of passing there.
Yeah, Simon Sykes getting a good pass. He's able to get by, I believe, Montiero on that one, so move Simon Sykes, I think, up into the 8th spot. But indeed, we're battling here again. There's Lockie Hughes. That's the lead that he has developed over a lap. Matt Clark, full defense mode on Cooper Becklin, trying to see if he can't give himself a top 5 here right now. Hughes, though, everything went his way today. Becklin pushing hard from P5, though we saw that there. There's second, third. Look at this. Yeah, Becklin's trying anything he could to get by. Got to watch yourself coming through. Oh, Matt Clark has got everybody on top of him. White flag flying this time by. He's all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. This could get exciting coming in here. Oh, no, the little contact, and around goes one of the TJ Speed cars. Van Berlo involved. Another driver, Adams, involved. Right in the middle of the racetrack is one of the TJ Speed cars. There's Van Berlo coming to a stop. He had nowhere to go. Left rear contact for Van Berlo. It's been a rough weekend for him. Here they come flying down the back straightaway. We'll essentially be able to go green all the way through to the end, although they'll have to throw the yellow likely at start finish. We'll see whether or not it happens. Last lap here. Lockie Hughes still your leader, but the contact further back as everybody went defensive in turn number 1. We'll have a look at that replay when we can a little bit later, but right now it's the final lap here for USF Pro 2000. Chaos in turn number 1 will shake up everything 4th on back. Because who is that? I think Clark might have been involved as well. Matt Clark, I think, involved in that one. So that might move Garcia up into the fourth or fifth position. Here they come, though. This is huge for this driver here. He's the point leader coming in. He's the point leader coming out. Lockie Hughes from Turn 3 Motorsports, another win. He scores the victory in race number 2. Liam Skeets in second. Jace Denmark third. Fourth spot across the line will go to Matt Clark. He was able to get through George Garcia as the yellow flag flying aggressively coming down in here to 1. Wow. And there's the contact there. One driver going straight off as the yellow flag flying. They're being sent through the runoff. A good solid run there. That was Logan Adams. He had nowhere to go as well. He was P7, having such a good run for Logan. I'm gutted for him after a really rough weekend. We do have a look at the replay here. Let's have a look at what we've got going. You take a look at this here. Look at this is 4 wide. So the first 3 cars are through cleanly. Skeets, or rather Becklin to the outside. You've got Clark there on the inside. Garcia trying to defend. Becklin just comes right to the apex. He ends up losing getting tapped in the left rear, or right rear rather. And then I believe that's when the spin ensues for Becklin, who had such a good run. Around he goes. Van Berlo in the inside. He makes contact as well. Wow, and the number 10, how did Garcia get through there cleanly? There's Adams with nowhere to go. He ends up on the left rear of Cooper Becklin. Ayrton Hauk, hopefully you picked up a lot there. We're going to run back through for you. Let you have another look at what happened there, but really, they were 4 wide. There was defense happening, but there was also a lot of aggression. Garcia was looking big time to the inside. We'll have another look at this one and let you kind of break it down for us. Again, Ayrton Hauk from DC Autosport joining us here. Lockie Hughes with the win. Liam Skeets in second. Jace Denmark third. Matt Clark fourth. Here's the replay, Ayrton. Walk us through it.
Big 4 wide here down into turn 1, and Becklin sees he's got a little bit of a gap. I'm not sure if he sees that other D-Force car, but he turns in very aggressively, taking the nose of that D-Force car off and causing the initial spin, and coming through the second half of this. Yep, there he goes around, and from that spin, picks up the Logan Adams there, and somehow Simon Sykes able to get through that completely clean and pick up a couple of spots. But I think Becklin started with just that very aggressive turn in. I'm not sure if he saw the car inside of him.
Ayrton, I think one of the key things is when you're coming into that part of the racetrack, when things start to happen, you're already on the absolute threshold of braking. There's not much you can do. Those Continental tires are being used to brake the car, to slow the car down. When you're asking it to turn, it doesn't do that well. We'll unpack this a little later, but this guy is pumped. Lockie Hughes into victory lane here. He knows how crucial this victory was for him. A rough one yesterday, remember, back to the back, came back forward, but a win here in race number 2 is going to give him an even bigger point lead over Jace Denmark. It'll be over 30 markers. It'll be over a full race. He'll have the opportunity to potentially lock the championship in race number 1 of the doubleheader at Portland. Lockie Hughes with a big win there for Turn 3 Motorsports. Excellent run for him. Crew coming over to congratulate him. Excellent drive again for Lockie up front. Did not put a wheel wrong. But again, let's go back quickly and unpack what happened in turn number 1 there. Again, when you're down in there, like we said, everybody's on full threshold braking. And it looked to me, Logan Adams was doing whatever he could to woe it up, right? Everybody's slowing the contact. There was nowhere for him to go. And then Van Berlo tried to come up the inside. And I think he kind of the contact between him and Adams is what sent Adams over in to Cooper Becklin.
Yeah, Logan Adams looking really deep to make it 4 wide there at the start. Full on the brakes. I don't think he could back it up just enough to get out of the way completely of the things going on in front of him. And then once Van Berlo got up next to him, there was really nowhere for Adams to go. So unfortunate for Adams going up and over the back of Becklin there.
Yeah, the disappointing thing is both Becklin, Adams, and Van Berlo, all 3 of those drivers were really putting in great runs. But Van Berlo came from dead last up into the top 10. Becklin's battling Matt Clark for 4th spot on the racetrack, doing a tremendous job scrapping it out there. Logan Adams had worked his way up to 7th. Logan started back in 15th, stayed out of trouble, and Todd was showing good speed. And neither of those drivers got what they deserved out of the end of that race. And indeed, what they did get was a big crash bill. So
yeah, that's exactly it. Just like last lap, trying to get all that you can, tries to do the crossover on Matt Clark and through corner number 1. Can't quite control it. Gets top contact with the car to the inside, and then it's collection time as 3 or 4 cars all have contact. But the beneficiaries, Frankie Mossman, who suffered the penalty earlier, climbs all the way back up to a 6th place finish. And how about Simon Sykes, who rounds out 7th?
Ends up finishing in and 7th spot. But we've got 3 drivers waiting over in victory lane: Lockie Hughes, Liam Skeets, and Jace Denmark. We'll head there now. Ayrton Hauk, thank you so much. A tremendous job. Here's my driver analyst through 2 races this morning. I appreciate you getting up early to come and join us. Best of luck in getting back out to Portland.
Thank you so much, Rob. It was amazing to be here, and hopefully I won't be up in the booth at Portland, but I'll be actually on the track next time.
Quick shout out to your sponsors and give me your social media so people can follow you online.
Yeah, thank you. Please go ahead and follow Ayrton Hauk Racing on Facebook and Instagram, and big shout out to the Wings and Wheels Foundation, Little Red Door Cancer Agency, Cornerstone Environmental Group, Sparko, and my parents and everybody who's making this possible for me.
Thanks again, Ayrton. Well done. Todd, I'm heading to victory lane. We got some guys that want to celebrate.
Understandably so. Lockie Hughes was hoping to have a great weekend, come in here and help solidify his championship in the USF Pro 2000 Series. He has done just that. Had trouble yesterday in race number 1 of the weekend, but managed to climb back through the field and minimize the damage, and then really takes a big step forward to secure his championship, scoring the victory here in race number 2. 2 great races to kick off our Sunday here at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy Toronto. 3 more to come: sports cars, radicals, and then of course the feature attraction, the NTT IndyCar Series, going green just before 1:30 this afternoon. Colton Herta will lead the field to the green flag. We'll join Rob for victory podium ceremonies momentarily.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
And they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Tire free. Up.
Anything for the guy who finds that
Drivers
one
here will
pop.
now look to Portland. Only 2 more rounds to see who's going to win the scholarship. And let's start with a driver coming home in 3rd place today. He is in a championship fight in Portland for sure. 5 straight podium finishes. 3rd place today from Pabst Racing, Jace Denmark. Dylan Whittam will bring the trophy up here. Again, as I said, he's been on the podium 5 straight weekends. It is dialing in right now for Jace Denmark. He will be in a championship fight and very likely a 2-driver scrap. I think that with the issues for Nikita Johnson, very likely out of the championship contention. So it could be 2 drivers fighting it out for the scholarship to go to Indy Next Racing in 2025. Great drive for the Kiwi. I know they're watching back home in New Zealand, folks, for TJ Speed. Finishing in 2nd spot today, Liam Skeets. Great drive for Liam. The pressure all race long. Frank Martinello will help us out with the trophy presentation here for Liam. A great drive for TJ Speed Motorsports, and he has had a solid season here. Going to be finishing in the top 5, likely battling for 4th place in the points. Great job for Liam today, coming home in the 2nd position. When you come in here with a championship lead, you want to leave with a championship lead. Only 2 more races left to see if he's going to end up winning the title to go to Indy Next in 2025. Turn 3, the car here in Victory Lane, driven, ladies and gentlemen, by today's winner, Lockie Hughes. Lockie, how important was this victory to get the momentum going to Portland?
I mean, yeah, of course, really important. I mean, only 2 races to go now, so it's gone by pretty quick, to be honest. It felt like we were just at St. Pete, and now here we are. But no, I was just happy not to do any overtaking in that race, because the last 2 races we've had to be in the pits and end up doing a bunch of overtakes the rest of the race. So no, it was nice to just stay out in front. I can't thank the Turn 3 crew enough for giving me an amazing car. It's great to have the McGinley Clinic here supporting me this weekend.
How about that pressure from Nikita Johnson? He was all over the gearbox for a bunch of laps. You never cracked, he did. That kind of was the difference for this race.
Yeah, I mean, it was bloody tough. I mean, he was giving me a lot of pressure, and I was just trying to just maximize everything I could. I still had to be smart, though, because I couldn't be fully balls to the wall just with how, the championship lead, but no, I mean, it was great.
Ready for Portland?
Of course, and my family will be there, which will be nice. So hi to them back home if their internet's working.
Hop up on top here, my friend. The winner today, Lockie Hughes. What a drive. Let's get that trophy up here. Amazing stuff. P1 trophy. Tyler Svirk, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Good command, by the way. That was awesome earlier today. Love that. But again, these are the drivers, folks, just 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. You look at our last 6 champions, 4 of them are in IndyCar here this weekend. 2 are now starring in Indy Next. This is the future of IndyCar. No doubt about it. And we've got 3 countries. We talk about this being an international field as well, of course. Australia for Lockie Hughes, New Zealand for Liam Skeets, the United States for Jace Denmark, and these are the drivers you're going to see in IndyCar in the next number of years. And what a show they put on up front. They were able to get through the chaos, of course, on that restart happening back in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th positions. We'll give a shout out to Matt Clark, the Canadian driver coming home P4, did a good job here today in the home race as well. But again, up front though, not only do we have the 3 different nationalities, 3 different teams as well. Jay Howard Driver Development, TJ Speed, and Pabst Racing on the podium shows the diversity of this program. It's USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000 categories. So many great teams, so many great drivers. And what a fantastic way to cap things off. 3 more races still on the docket for the day. Guys, drop those trophies. Let's grab the champagne. Time to celebrate. Grip it and rip it. Let's have it. The celebration. Lockie Hughes, another victory on the season, and he will take a point lead to Portland International Raceway for the finale weekend at the end of August. It'll be he versus Jace Denmark to see who comes away with the championship here in 2024. Ready for a scrap in Portland season finale. And what a race we had here in Toronto. Thank you so much for everybody here in Toronto. We love this event. The drivers love it. They love the people. They love the city. One of their favorite events of the entire calendar. And again, thank you so much, folks, for tuning into the broadcast. If you weren't able to be here trackside with us, either on the YouTube channel for the USF Pro Championships program or the downloadable mobile app, we will say goodbye as the Aussie flag going to get draped over Lockie Hughes. He is your winner in race number 2 and the point leader heading to Portland in the finale. Folks, on behalf of Anderson Promotions and Continental Tires, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.